Who's That Red Sock? Am I Ed Harris? And kids only catch on fire at night. All this and more on a brand new How Did This Get Made? Last Looks. Places, everyone, and hit the theme.
If you made a call so you could chat with Paul to ask him what you really want to know, or maybe just kick back, have some fun and relax, cause you want to hear an entertaining show. Sure, some things they forgot, whether you noticed or not, so now it's time to set the record straight. It's the mini episode, Last Looks, here we go, and start How Did This Get Made?
Hello, all you tight pajama-wearing kids. I'm your milk attendant, Paul Scheer, and welcome to How Did This Get Made? Last Looks, where you, the listener, get to voice your issues on the Melanie Griffith, Ed Harris classic Milk Money. Plus, Jason and I will answer some listener phone calls and chat about all the stuff that we are currently into. Plus, we're going to reveal next week's movie, and at the end of the show, I will share an exclusive bonus scene from the live taping of Milk Money at Largo. But first things first, a big shout out to Devin Helmer for that theme. Yes, Devin, that was awesome. We love these songs. And if you have a Last Looks theme, send it to howdidthisgetmade@earwolf.com, but keep them short. 50 to 20 seconds is best. We don't need to hear anything longer than that. Brevity is the soul of wit. And if you want to see the soul of wit, come see us live. We are going on tour this August. How Did This Get Made is coming to a bunch of East Coast towns. We're doing 2 nights in Boston at 2 different theaters. We're doing 2 nights in New York. Well, technically New York and New Jersey. We're doing a night in Philly, and we are doing a night in DC. Tickets are almost sold out, but go to hdtgm.com for more info and tickets. The movies are not yet announced, so don't ask me, Paul, what's the movie? And yes, we're going to do a different movie every night. And yes, there are going to be special guests for the first time ever. Oh yeah, we got some good stuff lined up for you. Anyway, go to hdtgm.com right now. All the shows are on sale. And now let's get into it. Last week, we talked at length about Milk Money. As one of our commenters on Discord called it, it's a film that aged so poorly, it curdled. Oh yeah. That is from Discord user Fast Anna Furious. Anna, thank you for that great tagline. Now, we of course had questions about Milk Money, and we might have even missed a few things. It is now your chance to set the record straight. Fact check us, if you will. It is now time for corrections and omissions.
Jack, baby, Jason, June, Paul, they correct themselves, but they can't correct them all. If you got omissions, corrections with Paul, just pick up the phone and you give him a call. You give him a call, or you just give him a call. 1-800-IF-POWER-LASK, and you can make a call.
Chris Purcell, nice job. Love that theme song. Let's go to the Discord. Rai80 writes, when the fire alarm is pulled at the school dance, there's a couple of great ADR lines from Malcolm McDowell when he yells, I hate fire, and I don't like closets. I did not hear either one of those. Also, Casey Simansko isn't just murdered by Malcolm McDowell. The news report says it was a ritualistic mutilation. And apparently he cut out his heart. This was all in a family film. Oh man, I missed the 90s. Right. You said it as best as I could. I feel like this is a movie where Richard Benjamin, who had made a lot of weird movies, just kind of let people go on ADR and was like, no one will care. No one will listen. It's a fucking kids movie. And you know what? He was right, except for when it came to Rai80. Rai80 was onto you. Joe Tangella writes, my favorite piece of trivia about Milk Money is that one of the kids in the montage where they're selling porn in school was former Red Sox great and 2-time World Series champ Kevin Youkilis. He is the kid collecting money outside of the bathroom. Apparently they filmed this scene at his school in Ohio. Now, I did actually mention this in the show, but I kind of messed up his last name. And I have to say that oftentimes when I do talk about sports on How Did This Get Made, especially in front of a live audience, it goes dead. I remember one time I referenced Steph Curry. The audience had no reaction to it, to the point where I was like, Steph Curry. right? You all know stuff. No, nothing. Now, I will say, I was just with June the other day, and we were talking about going to see Joni Mitchell, and we were with a woman who's a little bit older, and she's like, "Oh, what concert did you see?" And I said, "Oh, Joni Mitchell." And she's like, "Oh, who's that?" And I feel like, and my question to all of you is, that's a name that even if you're not familiar with the work, you know the name, right? Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, Frank Sinatra, like they're names that are synonymous with music, I would think. And this woman was older than us, so she should definitely know. Anyway, I felt like an idiot, but when I brought up Bob Dylan, she's like, "Oh yes, I know Bob Dylan. He sang Rocky Mountain High." And so maybe it was just the wrong person to ask about music. Maybe she was a How Did This Get Made fan. JXL writes, "What the hell was going on with the kid's leather jacket? The kids in the movie all seem like they wanted to fuck it more than Melanie Griffith. And during the opening air porn market scene, there was a queue of girls paying $0.25 a piece to wear it for 3 seconds." Yeah, that was weird. I remember wanting objects like that. Like, I think whenever a kid had an earring, that was a big deal. But like, I remember there was like an earring that was like a magnet, and people really wanted to put that on their ear to kind of live vicariously through it. And maybe a leather jacket had that same kind of cachet. I don't know. That clearly seems like something that is out of somebody's childhood. So I'm gonna err on the side of that is real somewhere. Let's go to the phones. Noel from Albuquerque, what do you got?
Hey, Paul. This is Noel in Albuquerque. You'll also know me as the twin dad to Evan and Elliot from the Milk Money episode, which we absolutely loved. But I do have a quick correction and omission. In the episode, you guys talk about Kevin and Kevin's dad, but you leave out a little bit of the fact that Kevin's dad is an OCD compulsive neat freak, which is why when he gets out of bed to call the Anne Hayes character, he makes the bed as if he wasn't in it. And this comes back later in Kevin's reaction to learning that his dad is lying to them and cheating on his mother with V. And Kevin's reaction to go full on Pigpen is a reaction to that kind of OCD compulsive neat freak that Kevin is mimicking. And we see this also in the credits where Kevin's dad's character, his only reference is as Mr. Clean. So I think that kind of carries through in those two characters and what's going on. So anyways, we love you guys. The babies love you guys. Babies love Jason. We'll definitely come and visit when we're back out in LA. Talk to you later.
Okay. Well, first of all, hi to the twins. I buy it. Okay. You make a good point. You said a lot of things that I don't remember. So honestly, based on my lack of memory of this film, I'm going to say that you are 100% right. Thank you for clearing that out. Kevin's dad is an OCD neat freak. Thomas from Santa Clara writes, well, he doesn't write anything. He actually just calls and leaves a voicemail that sounds like this.
Hey, this is Thomas from Santa Clara. I just wanted to say, Paul, I'm on your side. This movie is crazy. Between the child solicitation and the child endangerment, all the adults in the movie should be in jail. But the thing that bothered me the most was something you guys touched on, which was the $250,000 that V gets at the end. How does that pay for everything? Well, I did some basic inflation math, and that amount of money in today's money is about $513,000. And the average cost per acre of land in Pennsylvania right now is around $30,000. So in that time period, you figure $14,600 per acre. It's only 5 acres. It's not a lot of land to save. So that's about $73,000 plus $17,000 for a brand new Chrysler LeBaron convertible. Wild choice for a car. So with those two things, she's only in it about $90K. So that leaves $160,000 for however much it costs to franchise or buy a small town ice cream shop and all of the liability insurance they're going to need for that marshland because kids and people are going to get hurt and they're going to have to pay for it. But I guess it's plausible. That's the only part of the movie that makes sense.
All right. Wow. That is absolutely shocking. Wow. I guess $250,000 was good. I mean, he's right about the insurance, but I guess they could get around that. Again, it was a different time. Maybe insurance rates were down. All right. I'm impressed with that, Thomas. Anyway, let's go to Abby.
Hi, Paul. This is Abby. I was just listening to the Milk Money episode, and I remembered something kind of hilarious right off the top. I thought you would have known. I thought in an episode of Party Down, Megan Mullally gets really stoned and you're in it? And she keeps referring to you as Ed Harris, and she goes, "Oh, I love Milk Money." And that's just always been in my head, but it's been years since I've seen any of this. So anyway, it was really funny. Thank you, bye.
Abby, I don't remember this at all, but good thing our producer Scott does, and Scott actually pulled a clip from Party Down. Your memory was correct, Abby. Take a listen.
Dude, I am sorry about this whole thing. It was petty of me. It was small. You deserve better.
Yeah.
How do you know Ed Harris? Wasn't he wonderful in Milk Money? I feel depressed. How do you fix that?
All right. That was... Yeah, that's a great episode. I really love that episode. Well, that's not a great episode. I love being in that episode. I'm a huge fan of Party Down. And if you've not watched the new season of Party Down on Starz, get to it. It gets better and better. Jenna Garner's in it, and she's great. Ken Marino, so funny. Martin Starr, the whole Ryan Hansen, everybody. I could name them all. They're all great. Adam Scott, of course. People are upset Adam Scott has not come back, and we will get to him. We'll get a response from Adam about Fast 10 soon enough. Okay, what is up next? Oh, we got a phone call from Margaret about kids' PJs. All right, I'm in.
Hi, Paul. This is Margaret. I am calling with some info about children's PJs. I used to sell them, and this is kind of crazy. But the reason that children's PJs are supposed to be tight-fitting and flame retardant goes back to the time of people smoking in the 70s and falling asleep while smoking and accidentally setting their houses on fire. So the smoking industry pushed to make furniture and children's PJs flame retardant so that they would not catch fire and not be liable for children's death. It's crazy. But that is the reason why children's PJs still are cut very tightly for the body, form fitting, and they are flame retardant. And the only reason that they can get away with not being flame retardant is if they're extra form fitting. So I thought that would be interesting info for y'all to have. Thanks. Bye.
Wait, we have now kept pajamas tight on kids because of when we used to smoke. Can't we just loosen that up a little bit? I'm glad that June is right, but I also feel like she's wrong because it's, a relic of a bygone era. But anyway, the pajama talk continues on the Discord as Amanda's Amy writes, everyone mocked June about her views on tight-fitting pajamas to prevent burns and fires. But as a mom, I know that all kids' pajamas come with a big tag attached to them about this exact thing. There are actually rules and regulations mandating that pajamas are either flame retardant or tight-fitting. Now, she posts this picture. I get this. Yeah, like I order pajamas all the time for my kid. Not all the time, but a lot. And I've seen this tag. It says, for children's safety, the garment should fit snugly. This garment is not flame resistant. Loose fitting garment is more likely to catch fire. Okay, well, I see that. And maybe that's what June said. I always find that on really cheapo stuff. But anyway, Scott chimes in. This is our producer, Scott. And he goes, in 1996, the Consumer Product Safety Council Commission introduced a loophole into children's sleepwear regulations that says kids' PJs do not have to be fire resistant as long as they are snug fitting. Why? Well, because tight fitting pajamas are less likely to ignite if the child is near an open flame, and they are less flammable due to a lack of oxygen between the child's skin and the garment. So why wouldn't a parent simply buy a regular fit PJs that are fire resistant? Well, flame resistant chemicals can sometimes irritate the skin and may be linked to health problems. Does this vindicate June? Well, one Discord user chimes in. Richard Ballshaft says the pajamas are already designed to be close fitting at the correct size. There's no need to size down. Well, okay, but here's the thing. Why are we so worried about fucking pajamas? What about regular clothes? Like we only are going to catch fire at night? Like we're only escaping a fiery inferno at night? I call bullshit on it. All clothes should be tight-fitting then. But we can't just go like, fires start at night. We're not cavemen and women, people. Anyway, so many great corrections and omissions this week, but there can only be one. And honestly, the winner is clear. I don't want to get into all the pajama talk. Abby, amazing ear for remembering that I was referenced as the main character of this film. But truly, the person who brought it all home for me was my friend Thomas from Santa Clara, who did the actual math and found out how much money a V got at the end of this movie. And honestly, the time that you spent there means that you, sir, are a winner. And you get this amazing song from Homonym. Hit it.
You win nothing.
All right, if you want to take part in this kind of discussion, please do hit us up on the Discord at discord.gg/hdtgm or call us at 619-PAUL-ASK. But if you want to submit a tagline, like I introduced this segment with today, you can also do that as well. There's all these forums and boards. I love Discord. It's great. Coming up, Jason and I answer some listener phone calls and recommend TV shows and movies that we're currently into. Plus, I reveal next week's movie, and at the very end of the show, I will share an exclusive deleted scene from our Milk Money episode. So, you don't want to miss that. Stick around. All right, people. You probably noticed that the How Did This Get Made feed on every Monday, we are pulling out an old episode and re-releasing them back into the rotation. This week's Matinee Monday was Holy Matrimony, and next week's will be My Stepmom is an Alien, directed by Milk Money director Richard Benjamin. So keep on checking out these replays of old episodes of How Did This Get Made every single Monday. And let's just go into Just Chat, but let's do a little bit different because Jason and I decided for Just Chat this week, we're going to open up the helpline one more time and offer up our expert advice. And we even toss in some TV and movie recommendations too. Rob from Long Island, take it away. All right, Jason, we occasionally do this. A chance to talk back to people, give them advice, help them with their lives. We got some phone calls. Should we go to the phone and see what people have to say?
Sure. Why not? Why not?
Boom.
Hi, Paul. This is Nate from Cincinnati. I had a question that keeps getting brought up over the course of the How Did This Get Made podcast. All three of you have brought up coffee drinking and tea drinking at one point or another, and it always makes me thirsty for a good cup of tea or a good cup of coffee. During one of the episodes that I can't remember, June brought up that you, Paul, make a fantastic pot of coffee in the morning, but she never went into details on what makes this pot of coffee so damn good. So my question to you is, what do you do to make your coffee the best in the world? Thanks, Paul. Take care.
Was a very good question. I feel like we both can kind of tackle because I know, Jason, you also have some techniques. I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I was in London at one point, and I was in this very famous tea shop. Amazing. It's like a floor of tea.
Oh, wow.
And I was looking around, and I said to June, I sent her a text. I said, June, should I get some tea? Like, anything you like? And she's like, hard pass, is what she sent me from the world's greatest tea company here. And, you know, I like tea. I like a tea. I will make a tea. I like a tea at the end of the night. You like a tea during the day, or I've seen you kind of.
I'm a coffee day, tea night person.
Okay.
Unless I'm wanting, that's pretty much how it shakes out.
Okay, because I'll tell you this much: I don't drink hot coffee. I don't love hot coffee. I'll have a latte. I'll do different things. I like an iced coffee. I found myself loving this new brand. I'm going to probably mispronounce his name, but I think it's called Cometier or Cometier. I don't know. And it basically is like bouillon cubes of coffee. They come frozen in a little pod, but they're from some of the best coffee places around the country. And then you would drop that into a coffee cup and then pour hot water over it, and it becomes coffee. But it's not like instant because it's frozen like an ice pop, and I actually use it for great iced coffee. And it's the first time I've really loved my iced coffee because the coffee's so good. It's from Go Get 'em Tiger. It's from all these cool places, and you can kind of dictate what you want out of the box. But that has been my new go-to for like an iced beverage, because I feel like I can't figure out the cold brew thing to my liking. It's always a little too much for me.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, I mean, but I will say this. I make a great pot of coffee for June. I don't know what it is. I think it's just, I think that June likes a very basic coffee. She likes Pete's Major Dickinson blend. That's what she likes. I've tried to change that.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to bring other coffees into the house, and she sniffs them out from a mile away. I've tried to sell her on grinding beans and doing it like that.
Sure.
She won't do it.
Oh,
I like all that stuff. I love all that stuff.
See, that's my whole gig. Is my whole morning is like it takes me a minute to make I'm grinding beans in a big burr grinder. I make a French press every morning. If you want to see me make a French press, actually, from many, many, many years ago, over 10 years ago, but it's the same. I still do the same exact thing now that I did then. I did a video for Amy Poehler's Boys Minute. When she had that channel going, where what was the channel called? The segment was
Smart
called
Girls.
Smart Girls.
Right?
Thank you. There was a segment called Boys Minute. And in my minute, I talked about how I make a French press. And so I grind beans. I traditionally use Go Get 'em beans or Counterculture or a couple of other.
Counterculture is part of this Comatier
Oh,
thing.
nice.
Yeah.
Great. So I'll grind beans. I'll make a French press every morning. I subscribe to, I'll shout out James Hoffman, who is a British YouTube coffee expert. He's a British coffee expert who has a prominent YouTube coffee channel. I use his French press. I've actually altered my French press method that is in that Amy Poehler in the Boys Minute video slightly to accommodate James Hoffman's method, which I actually think is a little bit better.
By the way, I want to just say that Jason, very easily, all you have to do is type in Jason Mantzoukas French press. First thing that comes up is you right here with Boys Minute.
Great. So that's it. That's like, I make a French press every day, and I have for 20 years.
Now, I like that idea. See, I like process. I like getting in. I like smelling the beans.
And it's
I do the whole thing.
It's also when I watch, that's when I'll watch something that I might want to watch, that I might just want to have, it's when I oftentimes will process that week's SNL or certain things that don't demand my full attention, but I want to watch. I'll put it on the iPad while I make my coffee, or just NPR or Howard Stern.
No, I love that. I love that idea. This is what I feel like I'm often trying to sell June on. You know, this idea of let's up it, let's upgrade it. But no, she has very specific things. Now I'm going to say this to you, Jason.
Yeah.
10 years ago, you let cameras into your house.
Isn't this crazy?
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? I watched it recently and I was like, wow, I can't believe this is a period though when it didn't occur to me. This is not my house now. This is not the house I live in. This is where I lived many, many years ago. But yeah. Isn't that nuts?
It is truly shocking.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my biggest takeaway from that, and it looks great though. But yes, so we use a Cuisinart pot. Very basic. Everything is super, super basic. I've tried to up the ante. I will do different things. Like when I was making my cold brew, I would be I would be grinding up some hazelnuts, of doing different things. I tried to cinnamon and all that sort of stuff. Trying to make it, but simple wins the race for June. And now that I have this way to make my iced coffee in the morning, I really like that because I also am still taking that time. I'm like, I like the preparation of it. I like having it, and then I put it in a big Yeti and I walk around and I get to sip it. But let's talk tea for a second, just quickly, some tea stuff. Are you rocking tea bags? Or are you putting a little okay, all right.
I'm almost always doing a tea bag. I loose tea. I have loose tea. And I almost never go for it because that's when I don't necessarily want process.
Got it.
Tea is usually it's late. I want I just want some tea to kind of wind down. I would rather just throw a tea bag in and do that.
I mean, this is where, I mean, look, I'm no offense to anyone out there who loves making their own tea, but Celestial Seasonings, this is where I'm getting into, like, just give me something nice and basic. Give me, I love it.
Yeah, give me a Moroccan mint tea. Give me
I love that.
You know, or just straight up give me something like chamomile or something very ginger, or very mellow, very easy end of night kind of tea.
And I will say this, which people don't know, but I feel like I should share it. Like, a lot of people say, like, when you have a sore throat or something like that, you should be drinking tea, and that's the exact opposite. Apparently, I've talked to a lot of singers, say you should not exacerbate the vocal cords any more than they are by putting hot liquid on it as well. Yeah, but I will tell you that Jason and I often talk about this website Wirecutter, which we like. And they have a whole section on the best teas.
Do they really?
Oh, yes. A smooth ruby black tea with honey notes is Us Too. It's Taiwanese black tea, Manhattan Black. And they also talk about like a black tea for those who like it with milk. That's Taylor of Harrogate, Scottish breakfast tea.
Ooh, that sounds great.
They got a lot of different stuff here with the links to go get it. So that's Wirecutter has a whole big thing.
Oh, nice. Good.
All right.
I'll check that out.
Hit us with another call, Scott.
Hi, this is Victoria from San Diego. I just wanted to say I just finished listening to the Fast X Last Looks with Jason, and it was super fun, but I just kind of wanted to describe it as it felt a lot like when mom goes out with her girlfriends for the first time in a while, and dad has to watch the kids and kind of doesn't really know what he's doing on his own, but it's still super fun. Thanks for all you do. Bye.
Well, Jason, let me tell you, first of all, people love you as host. People say put some respect on Jason's name as host. We always know that you're going to deliver, and you get to come in and have to do this from tips to tails, and I appreciate it.
Oh, happily. But I think I'm trying my best to give big substitute teacher energy.
I love that. Look, when June goes out, I do this thing that is not indicative of our household at all, but I get my sons to start chanting "Boys' Night."
Yeah,
Boys' Night. Yeah. Boys' Night is the same as every other night in our house.
Sure,
but it is like so fun to feel like someone's not there, and you get to kind of run the show the way that you want to do it. I'll tell you this much: shocked that by the time you were releasing that episode, Fast 10 on video on demand. What is going on? The movie was in the theater for 3 weeks.
Do you think that's indicative of it underperforming at the box office?
So I did a little research on this, and I found out that is just Universal Studios.
Oh, that's their
way of acting.
Okay.
Because I guess it oddly is as profitable as keeping it in the theater. So 3 weeks in the theater, and then you're charging people $19 or $24 per buy, because it's like, even I think it's 19 to rent and 24 to buy, which, by the way, I bought it. I had to. And what I really love about Fast and Furious being out so quickly is the amount of rips that people have just taken, little moments like Jason Momoa just going woohoo and then jumping, or the no spoiler alert here because hopefully you've already watched it. Gal Gadot, the smile at the like everything about it. It like you get to enjoy it while it's still a part of the cultural
while it's still in the zeitgeist. I like that. I haven't bought it yet, but I did buy John Wick 4. Boy, just so I can rewatch it. I've already watched it twice.
So
at home.
Good.
It is fantastic. I know we're not currently talking about what we've been watching, but boy, I just love popping in and watching a bunch of it. It's great.
Oh, it is such a fun movie. I bought that as soon as I could get
Donnie Yen, a flawless addition to this universe.
Okay, now the very large gentleman that he plays cards with, right? Did not realize that was all like a Nutty Professor suit.
Oh yeah, that's Scott Adkins.
I did not know that, and then when I looked, and I did not know all of his.
Scott Adkins is like a prolific, like B movie action star. He's like a huge. He's an incredible a performer. He's also he's in at least John Wick 1.
He's also in Ip Man 4.
Yeah. Donnie Yen again.
Did not know that much about this guy. And so when I saw that, I was like, whoa, it was really, that transformation is pretty awesome.
It's a good suit. He looks very compelling.
Especially when you see how cut he is.
And he's able to fight well in it. The movie is fucking rad as hell.
It's so good. All right, what do we got? What's the next call we got?
Oh, wait a minute. Can we pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I like that the vibe of me hosting Last Looks is dad's away.
Mom's away, apparently.
Mom's away. Dad's away. The kids are running the kingdom. That's all I want.
I love it. I mean, the reviews...
Or more like uncle's in charge.
Look, I love it that it is happening like that.
Hi, Paul. This is Aaron in Boston, and
Megan, his wife, also a Deep Dive fan.
Yes, and we kind of have a dilemma that we need your help solving. So we moved to Boston back in 2019, and as huge fans of the show, we were really excited when we moved here because we're like, they always come to Boston, we'll see a show. Now, of course, the pandemic happened, and a lot's changed in our life since then. So the only problem now is we're moving away from Boston in December, and July 25th, we're having a baby. So we kind of have a dilemma here of what do we do?
What's the freshest baby you can bring to a show?
Yeah. So any help or advice on this, much appreciated. Thanks.
What's the freshest baby you can bring to a show?
We've had very young babies. I mean, we've had
newborns. Somebody brought like a 3-week-old baby to a show once at least, and maybe even less. I don't know.
I think that the thing that I would say is this: if you're just bringing the baby to bring the baby, God bless. But you know what? This is also supposed to be a timeout for you all as well. Like, if it's going to be too much of, I'm not saying it for us, I'm saying it for you, the audience. Like, if it's too much for you to deal with a baby that's not going to be sitting still for you, I don't think you should bring the baby, just because I think you won't enjoy it. But a lot of people bring these young babies that are just sleeping, and then it's great.
Oh yeah. If you think you can get by without it making you, or let's be honest, the people around you distracted or uncomfortable or anything like that, then bring the baby. But also, like, don't prioritize seeing this show live over being good parents. Get it together, idiots. Yeah. Stay home with your goddamn baby. The baby, you're going to bring a brand new baby to, let me be clear. You're going to bring a brand new baby to a crowded show of all places in Boston, my hometown. There's some fucking fan, some Boston fan is going to think the baby thinks it's better than them, and then the person's going to want to fight the baby because Boston.
That's always what happens.
That's what happens. You think you're smarter than me, baby? Watch out. That's what's going to happen. And
we
you gotta
don't
be careful.
Want baby fights.
You got to protect your baby from fucking drunk Boston maniacs, which is 90% of our audience when we're there.
I often say this too, and maybe I've already said this. I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm going to. This is a night for parents. Like, bring your baby if you want, but also if you have a chance to get out of the house with a brand new baby and you can relax for 2.5 hours or get a nice meal, like, as a parent, I say embrace that. Embrace that. Just enjoy that too. Don't sacrifice a night out just for a chance that Jason may bless your baby.
And also, don't bring your baby thinking that's what I want.
Well, that's the whole thing.
I don't want people bringing babies that shouldn't be there. If a baby, don't think that having a baby at a show grants you entree to talking to me, getting near me, or anything like that. I'm not interested. A baby tried to murder me in Houston, Texas. Let's be clear. Okay.
By the way, I will say that, the truth of the matter is, after that baby gave you COVID in Texas, you're a little more suspect of babies.
Oh, I haven't touched a baby since.
Yeah, there we go.
And I didn't even touch that baby that night.
So I guess the question comes down to this. July 25th, we do a show on 8/8. Is it too soon? You know what? It may be the perfect time. You got to call it as you see it. We don't charge extra for babies. But if your baby is not colicky, not weird, then jump on in and embrace being a new parent. But yeah.
Oh, somebody is showing us on screen right now a picture of some people brought twins to Largo recently.
Yeah. Oh my God. They were
twin babies,
amazing.
one of whom I believe was named middle name June.
Yeah.
So far I haven't heard of anybody naming their baby Jason, or even more preferred, Zooks. Why not name your
why don't
kid
you just
first
get in
name
there and go,
Zooks?
that would be interesting. I like that.
Why not? Think about it, everybody.
All right.
I was going to say, before we wrap up, can I just shout out a few things that I've been watching that I want to give some attention to?
Absolutely. Because I was going to say, maybe we should just each list off 3 things we want to clue people in on, because we haven't talked about it for a little bit of time. So we'll just kind of make it quick, but we just kind of touch on 3 things.
Okay. So a couple of things that I want to shout out. I've talked about them a little bit. So you might have heard me talk about it, but Polite Society, the Nita Manzoor movie, the same creator from the Peacock show We Are Lady Parts, which show I loved. This movie is incredible, a beautiful British coming-of-age comedy. It's hilarious. It's fantastic. Polite Society. It's you can get it now. Buy it, rent it, support. Please support it. Where we talk so much about big IP, Fast and Furiouses and Star Warses and Marvels. Let's support smaller things. So to that end, Polite Society.
I love that. I'll
what do you
throw
got?
one thing and say, friend of the podcast, frequent guest on the podcast, Seth Rogen has a great show called Platonic, which I really have been enjoying.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Yes.
Apple TV. It's really funny. And I don't know. I think that this handles this idea really well, which is I love the relationship between him and Rose Byrne. They are just male and female friends, but they do a great job of taking the sexual energy out of it and really making it about great friends. And I'm a huge fan of Nick Stoller, and I think as much as I love his movies, I actually love seeing him when he does television as well, because I feel like he can even breathe longer in these scenes. You get these nice bigger scenes. I just think that his writing is always so great in his character.
Okay.
So high recommend of Platonic, and a shout out to Carla Gallo, who is very, very funny in it.
Oh, nice. Great. I will shout out The Other Two, which is absolutely
always funny.
Pound for pound, the funniest show on television right now. I think they are about to finish this season 3. It's on Max. It's absolutely so fucking funny, this show, while also having moments of genuine heartbreak and heartache that are so real and land so well. I don't know any other show right now that is so successful at both heartbreak and absurd, hilarious comedy. It's fantastic. The Other Two, absolutely dynamite. What else you got?
I'm going to give a location out here. If you're in Los Angeles and you live on the East Side, I live on the East Side, so excited that Vidiot's is now open for business. Vidiot's is one of the premier video stores here in Los Angeles. It used to be all the way out in Santa Monica. They still rent movies. They built a giant video store you can rent. Tons of great stuff you can't find anywhere else. But more importantly, they have an open, beautiful theater. They've converted this this old church, and the screenings that they have. This is just from last month. On a Saturday, you could go in the afternoon and see Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and then at night go see One-Eyed Jacks. You could go see Repo Man and Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Birdcage in Crooklyn. It's like having, and this is a very specific LA reference, a New Beverly on the East Side. And that to me is thrilling. Really well, great
Wait,
programming.
Tell me again where it is.
It's in Eagle Rock.
Great.
And it's right on the main strip in Eagle Rock. It's beautiful location, fun shows, great interviews going on. Directors are popping up there all the time. And the theater is completely brand new, beautifully redone, giant. Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon is a kids matinee or kids film, family movie. And then they're just doing a tremendous programming. And I think it's going to just build and build and build and build.
Okay, great. I'm going to throw in just a couple of quick things on Freevee, which is Amazon's ad-supported network where I've talked about the Tegan and Sarah show, High School, that I loved, coming-of-age story. Another incredible coming-of-age story, Primo.
Yes.
This
People
is the
love that
Shea
you brought that up,
Serrano. Yes, Shea Serrano's show, produced by Mike Schur. One of the writers is friend of the show, Jason Concepcion, who does his own fantastic podcast, X-Ray Vision. I can't recommend this show enough. It is another coming-of-age story, very funny, but also such a great heart show, really human stuff, really fun, in a category that I feel like is really underserved right now. It's just really teen coming-of-age stuff that is very funny and not like goofy or not. It doesn't have a lot of added stuff. It's just great coming-of-age storytelling. It feels like a John Hughes movie or something, you know?
I want to bring up one thing that I just felt like I reopened my eyes to. Obviously, Indiana Jones fever. I don't know if it's sweeping the nation. I don't know if it's sweeping the nation, but it's here. You know,
I heard there's a vaccine coming.
We got to get that. It's the
that fever is high.
I know. Well, you got to get that Waller Bridge vaccine. So now I will tell you this. I have been getting ready for Indiana Jones, and I rewatched Temple of Doom, which is not the one that I would ever really reach for. And man alive, I love this movie, and it's worth a rewatch. It's so weird. It's so dark. I don't know. I was having a conversation the other day about it. It is truly two men who, at a point in their careers, were like, we are unstoppable. And every note that someone would give them to make it more family friendly, more 4-quadrant, they did not take. And I think that the recipe, some people may hate it. I think it's wonderful. And
it's kind of like the Empire Strikes Back of indie, because it's darker, it's harsher, it's a much harder movie.
Yeah, Indy likes to fuck in that movie, and kids are being like tortured and kidnapped, and there's voodoo, and it's really fun. Here's the thing I'll say, and the larger point of it is like, it's unfortunate that movie had such critical backlash, or, you know, people are like, oh, it's too dark. You know, it's the reason why PG-13 came into existence, because of the heart rip scene.
Which my sister, because we went to it, my dad took me and my sister to it, and had to like take my sister out of the theater, and she still will talk about how upsetting it was to watch him reach in and pull someone's heart out.
A moment in which Mola Ram reaches into someone's chest, pulls out their heart, no blood, and it is fucking... It scarred me as well. It scarred me as well. It's so good. But but I'll say this: if only people were on board with it, because I think that the wrong lessons were taken from that movie, which was like, let's try to recreate the first one, where this was such a crazily fun departure from the first one.
Sure.
That I don't know. Anyway, it's worth a look back. I always kind of like to when these trilogies are coming out, like kind of catch up on all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was a fun one to watch.
Let me just shout out a couple of other things, because I want them to get the attention they deserve. The second season of Somebody Somewhere, the Bridget Everett show on Max is back and is so beautiful. Our friend Jeff Hiller, again, doing absolutely incredible work on that show. Kyle Kinane has a new comedy special out that's very funny. We were talking about Joni recently.
Yeah.
The folk singer Karen Dalton there's a beautiful documentary about her called In My Own Time. Ooh. I loved American Born Chinese. Are you watching American Born Chinese?
No, I haven't watched that yet.
Holy shit, this show's good. American Born Chinese, based on an incredible comic. So not just is the show fantastic, a reunion of almost everybody from Everything Everywhere All at Once. The show is fantastic, but the comic is fantastic. So I can't recommend it enough. If you like the show, or if you want to get into it, this is a great entryway for young people comic. This is a good comic for young people. This is another great coming of age story.
I love this. I'm going to shout out one thing too. If you're not watching Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, new season has started, and I really like this show. It is like technically a prequel, but it's a week by week, episodic, fun Star Trek show, back to basics, not mired in a lot of the stuff that I think a lot of people have been reacting negatively towards, even though that seems to be where they're following up with more shows. But this is a nice clean the slate, and I like a lot of the new stuff too. But
Paul,
yeah.
that's a great segue for my last recommendation, which is predicated entirely on you.
Oh,
I have watched season 3 of Picard. And holy shit, it's
Am I
fantastic.
Right? Isn't it great? Isn't it great?
Fantastic. And this is coming from someone who I've not watched any other seasons of Picard.
Nope, you didn't. Yeah, great. That's
only the most cursory knowledge of Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm not this is not a word. I don't know the canon. I don't know the history. I don't know any of this stuff, but it didn't matter at all. This was exciting.
How great is...
It's a whodunit in space. It's a great self-contained whodunit. It felt like what I was saying a couple of weeks ago about all these Agatha Christie's that I've been watching.
Yes.
It felt like a self-contained mystery in space, though. I loved it.
And I mean, can we just say Jonathan Frakes, amazing performance, performance, right? And then I just have to shout out Michael Dorn as well. You know, I want to call out one thing because Avril Halley, our amazing movie picking producer, she heard us have this conversation about murder mysteries, right? And so she wrote me and she goes, I want to give you a few recommendations. So these are Avril recommendations, and I can speak to one of them, which I love. The Last of Sheila, 1973, written by Stephen Sondheim with Anthony Perkins. The cast is phenomenal. This movie is amazing. It was brought to my attention by Ryan Johnson, I think, when he was talking about the inspirations for Knives Out.
Knives Out, okay.
She said her personal favorite Perot adaptation was The Evil Under the Sun with Peter Ustinov. She said amazing.
He's done. Peter Ustinov is Poirot in a bunch of them.
Yes.
That I haven't seen that one. I've seen some of the other ones.
And then she said Death Trap. So funny, so cynical, so twisted.
Yes.
I don't want to spoil anything else. So those are 3 great recommendations from Avril, who we force her to pick shitty movies, but also has amazing taste across the board. So I wanted to give her a shout out there.
Oh, no, that's good. And those are good recs. Okay, good. I'm glad.
All right, great. Jason, we will talk again soon.
Home run.
All right, bye. All right, thank you, Jason, for just chatting with me, just giving advice with me. I hope we gave you some good recommendations there. But now that we got Milk Money out of the way, let's talk about next week's movie. We're going from Boys Learning to Fuck to Ben Affleck in a what the fuck movie. That's right. Next week, we are watching Robert Rodriguez's 2023, that's right, 2023 thriller, Hypnotic. It just came out a few weeks ago, and boy, oh boy, it's a doozy. Here's a short breakdown of the plot. A detective investigates a mystery involving his missing daughter and a secret government program. Actually, that's pretty concise. Rotten Tomatoes gives this film a 35% score on the tomato meter, and James Berardini from Real Reviews says, this is what happens when a less talented director tries to make a Christopher Nolan movie. Ooh, shots fired. Anyway, listen to the trailer.
Are you familiar with the concept of hypnotics?
Hypnotics.
Hypnotics have the ability to influence the brain.
It's very hot today.
To make you see a version of the world that doesn't exist.
I have to know everything.
What you're seeing isn't real!
Hypnotic, rated R. Only in theaters May 12th.
Now look, Hypnotic just came out in theaters last month. It's already available to rent as a premium VOD title, and I know it's going to be expensive. So I'm going to say this. Please try to watch it, but if you can't, I think you will be able to get it nonetheless. Maybe watch a clip or two just so you get an idea of what we're talking about. But again, I think you're going to get it. Now, before we wrap up the episode, I want you to check out this bonus scene from our Milk Money show where we answer an audience member's question about the scene between Melanie Griffith and Philip Bosco.
Okay, yes, your question.
To get back to the $250,000, she spends all that in this suburb that's, like a couple hours bike ride outside of the town immediately after.
By the way, she walks home. So I think it might be 45 minutes out of town.
In heels.
If that. And she does it immediately after getting her freedom from the guy that the money is stolen from, and right after he tells her that he just murdered Malcolm McDowell. Like, there's no concern about this blowing back to her.
We can't get into those details.
Well, I had a real question about that scene because they set up, and maybe I'm wrong, But that's the only time we see Philip Bosco in the whole movie.
That's it. It did feel they gave him a weight of like, well, here she comes with him again. And you're like, but have we seen?
Well, but that's like that. There's this moment.
He's been mentioned but not seen. This feels like a scene we missed.
But there's just a moment where she's like, I'd like to have my freedom. And he goes, you're good to go. And then she walks by the door and you want him to go into a full monologue. But if you go, let me tell you about your life. No, and she just leaves. That's it. Like
You let her go pretty easy, given that we'd been kind of running for the last 2 hours.
The movie's also such a delicate balance. If you get too deep in the weeds of the crime story, you really have to look at the harsh reality that these children are in abject harm. Like they are on the precipice of disaster. So you really have to broad strokes the crime story so that you can get on board for the romance with the dad, the coming of age story for these kids.
One would argue you don't even need the crime story. It doesn't do anything.
Of course you do, Paul. Of course you do.
I do think you need it. I think what happened, what I was working with. No, I think what happened is that there probably was a different ending. There probably was something different that was going on with Johnny the Pope or Jerry the Pope. And there were probably different stakes at the end. But I think what happened is they started filming and saw how good this little boy actor was.
Incredible.
How good Melanie is, how good Ed Harris is, what these scenes feel like, what they feel like. And I think they said, you know what? Fuck it. We want them to be together.
Who's saying this?
Them.
All of us.
All of them are
Casey, humanity.
So are you saying in the middle of the movie, the director's like, we need to change the third act?
Richard Benjamin's like, you know what?
I think so because
too good?
they are walking such a fine line here of how much we as an audience can take. And we also have to explore other characters. We've got Kevin's dad and we've got this one and that one.
We don't even understand why Casey.
Them, and I appreciate
we don't understand why Casey Szymansko has a wine rack by the front door where you would put your keys. Why isn't it in the kitchen? We got to go deeper on that character.
Oh, I keep my wine in the foyer.
All right, people, that is it. Please remember to rate and review the show. It helps. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts, make sure you are following us on that. You can visit us on social media at HDTGM. Remember, we are on tour. Just go to hdtgm.com to find out tickets, information, all that kind of stuff. And as we get closer, movies will be announced. It will be a different movie every single night. And if you want commercial-free access to How Did This Get Made, our entire archive, and so much more, sign up for Stitcher Premium for a free 1-month trial. Use the code BONKERS. And also, if you've not checked out Avril Halley's Movie Bitches YouTube page, you are missing out, especially if you're a RuPaul fan. We will see you next week for Hypnotic. Bye for now.